some of us will be breaking tomorrow, or maybe this evening, depending on when we started. Peace, YG Gutter. You know, but either way, I think the majority of you who probably just did the 3 days on the fast. This is Chief Yuya, by the way. I know when you do these things, you're supposed to introduce yourself in the beginning, especially depending on where your media may end up. I usually just forget and go right into it. But yeah. So I know most of you have probably completed, and you're eating breakfast, or peace, 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 brother Vermont. You're eating your breakfast, or maybe you broke last night and you were able to have some dinner last night, and willfully you are appreciating your food at a totally different level now than you ever have, or maybe not ever have, but maybe have recently. There's always a beauty in being able to rest the digestive system, and sometimes we don't see the value of taking care of ourselves because we don't see how our soul reflection and our bodies are intricately linked with one another. You know what I mean? Sometimes we put a lot of abuse on our bodies, and we think that it doesn't really matter based on our level of spiritual soul life development. And the truth is abuse is abuse. Oh man, I thought, peace, Andrine. I thought I turned these reminders off. Try it again. There we go. Peace, Baba Logan. Multiple reminders. Um, yeah, man. So when you get an opportunity to kind of rest the system in that way, it shows honor and respect. You not just to the body, but yeah, I'm always jamming because um, music is pretty much a 24/7 thing in any space I'm in. Peace, Shannon. Music is good to keep a place clean. Keep the vibes, command the vibes for where you want it to be. You know, but and plus I like to, keep my mental palette kind of clean using sound because I take in a lot every day, a lot of information, a lot of studying, and then people ask me for a lot of things every single day. Chief, I need this. Chief, what about this? Chief, can you do this? Chief, can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do that? So, peace, Sister Moksha. So, by having the music all the time, peace, Sister Rahia, um, having the music all the time, it helps me to keep my own rhythm and my own step, and then fall back into my own space, my own pocket, without, you know, kind of feeling like, yeah, I'm moving to someone else's, the Pied Piper of someone else, someone else's melody, if you will. Peace, Plant OG. Peace, Precious Mom. So yeah, I've always done that, man. I think from a young child, always had music playing, and then when I got my first place, um, music always playing. Yeah, it's always music and water. Those two combinations, you know. But yeah. Anyway, so like I was saying, I think it's advantageous. I know it's advantageous when you're able to reset for a moment, reset your digestive system, and like I said, it's linked to your soul, to the health of your soul. It's linked to the health of your spirit. That level of respect and kind of peace, shalom, shalom, Baba Utu, and being able to let me turn it down because I'm over here analyzing the bass solo. you know. So yeah, man, it becomes very powerful in that sense, man. Because like I said, a lot of times we just don't see those two things as connected. But you know, willfully, you've all gone through your reset. Like I said, if you would have began, um, 6-day evening, then you would have ended, last evening. Peace, Baba Christian, Baba Cruz, India Hunt. Peace, 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 peace. Welcome, greetings, welcome to the new day, or as Rochelle Farrell would say, welcome to my love. Not my love though, but it's just a song, But welcome to everyone. You know, but yeah, man. Yeah. It's just about really being able to reset because a lot of times, and especially in these times, there's so many changes happening that we need some serious resets in our life. Because some of us have had forced resets because of the just the whole um, calamity. If you say, "Oh, give thanks, Baba Cruz," yeah, man, give thanks. The whole calamity that the world has been experiencing. There's been some forced resets. Some people have had to peace, Baba Kevin. Oh no, that's not Pharaoh Sanders. Yeah, yeah, he's one of my favorites though. Pharaoh Sanders is a beast, man. Even at the age he's at now, man, he's still like he's always been a ferocious kind of horn player, very strong tenor player, Pharaoh Sanders. But he just when he gets on stage, man, he's like the James Brown of sax. He gets on stage and he just goes ham. Even at the age that he's at now, man. I love Pharoah Sanders. I love all entertainers that just leave it on the stage, even if they're not that great. But I love people when they get on stage, they just black out and let go. I love it. I think that was one of the greatest beauties of Bob Marley. He just get on stage and black out. Jimi Hendrix would black out. I think Bob was more free than Jimmy though, even because Jimmy was a little shy at times. But Jimmy was so freaky with his performance that you didn't even notice. He's lighting guitars on fire and playing with his tongue and all kind of peace, Nicky Love, and doing all kind of stuff like that, man. But yeah, man, anybody who just gives it, leaves it on that stage, and yeah, they get my vote. But yeah, so what I was saying, just basically, man, there's been a lot of forced pieces to Deidre. There's been a lot of forced resets, and for a lot of folks, it's difficult because just listen to some Bob and Jimmy. How could you not? There's certain things that are just standards of the human experience, and it's such a beauty, when people can come and be a standard. Bob Marley has become a standard of the human experience. Peace information. You know, just like James Brown is a standard of the human experience. Well, of the life experience is probably a better way to put it. Because humans may not be able to appreciate Bob Marley or Jimi Hendrix or these other kind of people. But yeah, those forced resets, looking towards our foundations, like the foundations of our human experience. You know, it's important to fast periodically. I know some of you probably want to continue forward, or you want to make it a regular part of just your routine. I totally encourage you to engage in that level of reset. Even if you want to do it once a month, or some people do it every strong. They take one day where they just do liquid, or they do nothing, or they do intermittent fasting, maybe 3 or 4 days out of the strong, where maybe they'll only eat from like 12 to 7. Although to me that's always been like that's the time you're gonna eat anyway. But I don't, everybody's different. But they open up a small, maybe 6 or 8 hour window of when they'll consume food, and then they'll give their system an opportunity to recharge and refresh, you know, uh, outside of that window. So you may decide, after doing this, you may decide, hey, I want to mix it up a little bit, and it's good, man. Keep the body evolving, keep the body guessing, and like I said, never forget that everything grows at the same time. So there's no way you're gonna have a healthy body and a sick mind. If you have a sick mind, and you big and strong, and your cardio is up and everything, your body's sick. It just may not look like it, but it's sick. And there's no way that you can have a sick body and a healthy mind. or a strong spirit. The two don't, doesn't work together like that. And a decomposing body is not necessarily a weak body. We're all decomposing, you know. Uh, so you always want to be able to try to do things in balance, and having those times when you can explore the grace of a fast, because that's rich people stuff. I'm gonna choose not to eat. I can't eat, but I'm not gonna eat. That's a sign of wealth, you know. But when you can explore that grace and pace yourself through a different kind of grace and take a real look at your addictions and things like that. One of the beauties also of fasting, it helps us to look at our addictions, and not addictions, but what we procrastinate on. You notice when your life isn't centered around what I'm going to eat for lunch, what I'm going to eat for dinner, what I'm going to eat for breakfast, and you have all this space in between. You know, um, you really have to think about, well, why am I not getting certain things done? You know, especially when we live in a world that's, a lot of us live what's called a burnout culture, and being burnt out is just a normal part of our experience. Peace, spoil, rotten. We don't seek to enjoy anything. We don't really have anything we enjoy. If somebody asks us, what do we do for fun? We'll be sitting there scratching our head. Fun. As if that's cute. We have nothing we do for fun. We have nothing we do to recharge. We have nothing we do to truly relax or anything like that. And, based around that, there's always this impending anxiety around burning ourselves out. And then, like I said, even the fasting or sleeping, resting, getting enough rest, whether it's sleep or meditation, because you don't necessarily need to sleep to rest. That's an important thing that you should understand. You know, um, Learning how to properly meditate can be very effective in terms of acquiring rest for your system. But nonetheless, burnout culture is a real thing, man. And I think during these times of fasting, and like I said, man, get out into nature, focus on this, focus on that. You get to see like what habits you may have that are actually burning you out. You know, um, Foundations has been a big thing that's been on the brain. What happened? Well, I see the word disappointed. What you do, Andrew? I had to end the fast yesterday afternoon. Had a headache and dizziness, thinking I should have cut back on workout and drank more water. Very disappointed. Will attempt again this Sabbath with my mom. You know, yeah, or maybe you just you needed more herb infused teas. That probably was it. What I mean? Water is cool, but when you're fasting and it's not something that peace pad mini 144 and Esme, peace. Yeah, but when it's something that you're not accustomed to, that actually, and don't feel disappointed. That happened to me when I did my first 40-day fast. Peace, Ali Isha. The first time I did my first 40-day fast, I had a similar uh, kind of experience, and I had to break from just straight water because I was doing only water for 40 days. And mm, trying to remember around when, but I feel like I had like 13 days to go or 14 days to go, and some very weird things started to started to happen with my body. I mean, of course, I wasn't even really going to the bathroom, at that point. Um, but yeah, I started feeling similar to what you were feeling. Not so much the headaches, but just there was some issues with my vision, and I realized that I needed some tea. I needed some herbs, So I started to drink some teas to kind of remineralize my system. I didn't eat any food or any shakes or any juices or anything like that. But peace, brother Antonio. But I did have to get some burdock and a couple other things that were like, just like just some strong, stuff that had a lot, that was mineral heavy. I needed more copper. There's a bunch of stuff, and I did the teas maybe for, it next 5, 6 days, maybe a little longer, and I started feeling more like myself a little bit, and then I went back onto the water, So, you know, my first time out on a 40-day fast was, you know, um, I, I didn't make it like I wanted to make it, as well, and I was even younger then, So I know your age, Andrine. So as we mature, peace, Mama Marva. Um, sometimes our body, we've had a lifetime of deficiencies, so it's a little bit harder to do certain things. So no, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Like you said, you could try it again. That's all. You just try it again. Because the second time I did a 40-day fast, I've only done a 40-day fast of only water 3 times in my life. Okay. It's brutal. It's not a like a this peace quantum love. There's nothing enjoyable about it. So it's not like a 3-day fast. You can do a 3-day juice fast and feel great. 40-day fast, you suffer. You pretty much suffer. There's a lot of demons that come to the surface. Not just, and then there's a physical change, of course, that you experience. And I think every time I did my fast, I was pretty active. So um, the loss of muscle. You start to see your body cannibalizing your muscle. It cannibalizes the fat, but then you see it cannibalizing the muscle as well, and you're shrinking in, and and obviously your energy levels are not what they normally would be, so you just kind of dragging, dragging through your days a little bit. Um, so it's a brutal experience, but there are some beautiful revelations. Peace, Levette. You know, um, that come along with that type of fast. So a 3-day fast can be brutal. A 7-day fast can be, a 1-day fast can be brutal. You know what I mean. So you guys don't feel disappointed in yourself. Just feel empowered now with knowledge. Now I know. Okay, now I know. So next time you go around, okay, let me get on those T's. Sister Moksha did several lives. I think I saw a second one, um, where she spoke about health stuff and food stuff. Okay, go back, look at the lives, and okay, maybe some things I could have included in going into it. And that's one of the things I said going into it. Don't pig out. You know what I mean? Fortify as you're going in. You know what I mean? I fortify even if I'm doing a 1-day fast. I don't just like eat well, sometimes I do, but I'll try to like fortify. Certain things I'll make sure I get into my system, mineral wise, before I go. So that's for anybody. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to everybody. Anybody who feels a little disappointed because you didn't go as far as you wanted to go, don't sweat that. Just be armed with knowledge. That's all. Just be armed with knowledge. You know. So yeah, man. And then again, every equinox, every solstice, we right back on it anyway. So you'll have more chances to give it a shot. You know. And if you want, um, I used to fast every month around the new moon. You know, once in a while I still do, but a lot of times when I do, I don't even. I just feel to, and then I find out it's a new moon. You know, um, but I used to do that pretty steady. Around the new moon, just to bring things in a certain way. Um, I like to be by myself. I like to be by myself in general. I'm pretty much a loner, but I consider food company. So like when new experiences are coming, or like the new moon is coming, I don't want food with me. I want just me. So a lot of times I fast around those times too. The new year, so it's so many opportunities. You know what I mean? It's so many opportunities to practice. You just practice. You might, and mono meals are a great way to practice as well. You may say, okay, I'm going to take one day, I'm just going to eat greens, or I'm just going to eat rice. If you're a rice eater, I'm only going to eat rice, or I'm only going to eat fruit, but one fruit. I'm gonna take the whole day. I'm eating nothing but coconut. I'm eating nothing but mango. You know, um, that also helps to prepare you as well as to really. I mean, I'm a big proponent of mono meals because I'm a big proponent of keeping it simple. Keep it simple. You know what I mean? All this and mixing that and mixing that. And a lot of times we get all this great health advice, but it's for me personally, I feel it's too internationalized. You know, like, oh, they got this Chinese herb you can use, and you can use some of this Indian herb, and they got this sacred herb that grows only in, the mountains of Montana. Nah, I ain't in all that. You know what I mean? Where am I from? What grows where I'm from? That's what I'm eating. All that other fly exotic stuff, that's not made for my physical structure. But, your mileage may vary. But like I was just saying, in terms of rebuilding those foundations, and fasting is a part of that. And it's something critical because, like I said, right now we're in a time period where it's like a forced rebuilding that's happening. There's things that are being taken. People are losing jobs. Peace Arisha. People are losing health. And the anxiety and all of these different things that people are feeling, and as a result, they're losing sleep, they're losing friends, they're losing loved ones and relatives, and from the very beginning of this whole experiment, I felt really, I really felt for young people because for some of you, you remember what summer was like and the anticipation around summer, you know, and this summer, sweetheart, you're gonna be in the apartment. You can't go outside, you know, and I really fell for these young people, man, because I was like, man, that peace, take care, you know, um, that's hard times right there when you've been stuck in a classroom all year, and now you think you're going to be out riding your bike and having fun with your friends and stuff like that, and you're stuck inside. Or for those who graduated school, and didn't have a real graduation, so all of the classes before them and all the fun they had at graduation, jumping and flipping off the stage, and they didn't get that. So there's a lot of things that we consider to be rudimentary and foundational that are being snatched away. And it's so important to understand how to rebuild ourselves after we change or lose our foundations. Sometimes it's the same thing with a fast. With a fast, you got to go into it a certain way and you got to break it a certain way. So like I'll be breaking this evening, and willfully, brother Vermon, your brother was able to hold up because this extra day is for him. So willfully, he was able to maintain. So I'm doing the extra day with him. Um, but yeah, I'll probably break tonight with some steamed vegetables. Normally, I wouldn't break with something that heavy. Normally, I would break with I like to break with sauerkraut or unsweetened coconut yogurt. I like as well, but I'm having a hankering for vegetables, which I don't normally crave vegetables ever, you know, and in particular okra. And I don't even like okra. I don't like it at all because I don't like how slimy it is. It it reminds me of let me keep the show clean, but it just reminds me of something I don't want in my mouth. Um, but I'm getting a hankering for okra, right? So I know how to make it so it's not slimy too. But before y'all start posting, right? You ain't have my okra. You ain't. Right. It's still slimy. Your okra that you make raw, that you fry up, is still slimy. Right. But I'm getting a craving for some okra, so I'm gonna probably break my fast with here we go, pickled okra. See what I'm saying? Chief, if you pickle it, it takes all the slime out. No, it's nasty. No matter what, it's not. I don't want slimy stuff in my mouth, man. Break with avocados. Yeah, you can do that too. That might. Well, it depends on your body, your system. That for me that would be a little heavy. Avocado because of the oil. It would probably, yeah, it probably tear my stomach up breaking one out. But everybody, you know thyself. We solid, but he went to bed earlier last night. He sure did. I said, you hungry? Go to bed. You know, you know. Oh, southern pickled okra. So that's a real thing. Ah, that's nasty. Pickled. No, don't do that. Don't do that, baby. Pickled okra. No, 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 no. I'm not doing that. That's gross. Yeah. Super good, huh? Okay. I don't have southern genes, so maybe that's why I don't understand. I think it's over my pay grade. I'm not eating no pickled okra. You know, uh, pickles ain't really good for you anyway because all of that vinegar it hardens your internal organs. You know, you eat all that pickle stuff, then you got to follow it up with a whole bunch of warm tea or hot tea and stuff like that to unpickle your organs. You be walking around with pickled intestines and a pickled stomach lining. You know, but not enjoy yourself. You know, I mean, sauerkraut is pickled. You know what I mean? So, you know, knock yourself out. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so the brother's still there. He's still holding. All right, so you know, bro, it's me and you. You know, whoever else. We riding out to. I don't know when y'all started, but my extra day is I started 6-day evening, Friday evening. So this evening will be my breakfast or my break fast. Sundown. Um, so anyway, so yeah, man, rebuilding the foundations becomes critical. I'm still thinking about that pickled okra. Oh God, you put something like that on my plate, that plate is going up against the wall. I'm gonna have to do a Suge Avery on you. Pickled okra. Nah, it's bad enough you got to eat okra as it is. You know, um, especially when you eat it on the continent because they make a lot of okra stew, and then you eat it with fufu, and then when you put the fufu in and you pull it, it just be the slime, just be you know. But tastes like a pickle. That's not enticing. Pickles don't really taste all that great. That doesn't sell it for me. Oh no no no, Chief, it's good. It tastes like liver. Fail, fail, fail. Keep no. But yeah, so rebuilding those foundations, man, you know, is important. You know, like, and my foundations ain't, you know what I mean, okra chips. Y'all are going off on this okra, man. Okra and fufu is the one. Yeah, it's the one to stay away from. It's the one. Yeah, it's the one that make me Earl. Okra chips are dry and crunchy. My dad love. That's some old people stuff. I told you my adult stuff never actually came in. Look at my hands. Look at that. These are not the hands of a grown man. You see my hands? I got calluses, but they're not even hard inside. Just this part. My calluses are real hard. But here's it's weird. I don't have the leather skin underneath like other men have. I ain't got that. I didn't some of my adult stuff, honestly, I think I'm still going through puberty. Keep it 1,000 with you because sometimes I even get like little pimples and stuff. Like if I eat too many sweets, if I eat too many dates, I always get. You can see it in the videos. I always get a bump at the same spot. So I don't eat adult food yet. So y'all probably like y'all eat okra and be like, "Ooh, this okra is so good." Mm-mm-mm. That's for adults. I'm not eating stuff that I'm a grown man. I don't have to eat that. When I was younger, I had to eat stuff I didn't want to eat. But I'm not eating okra. Okra doesn't taste good to youthful taste buds. That tastes good to older people. Just like older people eat liver and be like, "Ooh, this liver and onions is good." It's disgusting. It's blood. It's congealed blood. How could that be good? It's rotten blood. But when you are old, it tastes good to you. I never got those taste buds in. It's still nasty to me. I'm sorry. It's still nasty. Um, Brussels sprouts. Well, actually, Brussels sprouts can be hooked up. But the idea of them is not, I don't have grown people taste buds. So y'all can keep putting all these okra. You talk to each other. Y'all can put all these okra combinations in the chat all you want. It's not gonna. No, you put the okra with the fufu, okra chips. Why would I eat okra chips when I could have chips? That doesn't even make any sense. Why would I do that? That I don't understand that. You see what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. Nah, man, I ain't doing that. I'm gonna eat food that I don't eat nasty stuff. I eat healthy. I don't eat no nasty stuff, man. I always have to tell people that when they. So what do you eat? You don't eat this. Listen, just know this: nothing I eat is nasty. I eat good food. You know what I mean? Goddamn okra chips. Tell you that goddamn man. Even them kale chips are nasty. You ever had kale chips? Disgusting. Especially they make kale chips and they got a cheesy taste to it. It's gross. Right? No, that's just you trying to walk around at the African Family Day festival with your bag of kale chips or okra chips to let everybody know how healthy you are. That's all that is. And Hotep, peace. All right, yeah, yeah. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings with them nasty. Nah, man, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. You know. But anyway, so thank you for the okra advice, but you you can keep that. You know, you keep that. I'm not. I'm gonna eat some steamed okra tonight. I'm not gonna enjoy it, but it's what I need. I can tell I can tell my body needs to seal in some moisture. I can feel it. So that's why I need that okra. Okra is really good for your skin. Peace, James Garabaki. It's good for a lot of things. It's so mineral rich, and it's really good for sealing moisture in. You know, and I'm someone who's pretty much chronically dehydrated, to be honest with you, which many have the same issue, but I know I have the issue because you know, um, I don't drink anything. And you know what that really came from. I'm gonna keep it real before we go back to the foundations thing. Back in the days, I read a book called Doom, by Frank Herbert, and when I read Doom, they had these group of people in the book called the Fremen, and the Fremen prided themselves in not being what they call water fat, and that was like a sign of over luxuriating and kind of being softened by society. It's because they lived out in the desert and water was like it was scarce. So even when people would die or they would kill them, they had a way to process the corpse where they could extract the water from the corpse, and that became like a form of currency. So I remember reading that when I was much younger, and I was like, yeah, it's some warrior stuff to me. It's like, yeah, I don't need all that water. I don't need all this. I don't need all that. And then I think that was around when I started moving into the one meal a day thing. Either, yeah, I don't even need all that food. Don't need all that food. Don't need all that water. Don't need all that sleep. You know, that's just signs of. Not to say I was correct, but I'm just saying this is where some of the stigmas come from, and some other things that I went through as a youth, where I just learned learned to move without food and stuff like that. Chief, it tastes good fried. Here we go. Here we go. Had fried okra. I've had okra every way that you could imagine having it. Trust me, because I've had sisters for decades trying to get me to eat their okra. You ain't had my okra. I've had your okra. You ain't had. Trust me, the way I make it. The only one who I know who can make okra in a way that's tasty and it's not slimy. The only okra I've ever had that was made and it was actually good is my okra. I'm gonna keep it. It's totally real with you. I'm the only one and people have eaten my okra and been like, "Wow, this is delicious." You doggone right, because I know what's wrong with the okra. I know how to alchemicalize it. Make it right. But yeah, the way I make my okra, that's the only okra that's good. The rest of y'all okra don't taste like nothing that nobody want to eat. So keep it to yourself. So anyway, back to foundations. We done lost a lot of foundations. I know y'all like, why he going off all these tangents. He not teaching. I told you it's command today. We not teaching heavy. You notice some people didn't even come back. People who were in the chats earlier, in the earlier command today, Chief would be asking questions. They ain't never even returned. They're like, I'm out. He ain't answering questions. I ain't coming back. All right, well, that is what it is, right? But yeah, man, this is about setting the vibe for the day, setting the frequency. Whether we joking with each other or teaching each other, inspiring each other, we setting the frequency. That's what we're doing first. Especially for those of us who are not really joining people like myself. It's good to kind of set a tone to remind us that like I have to tell my youth and my family, like all the women, like I hate you until noon, and they know it. Peace, Sherelle. You say that in front of them. If I say that in front of my youth, they'd be like, yeah. I tell them before noon, I hate all of y'all. I hate you with a passion. Then something changes. As soon as noon hits, then it's like, hey, what's up? How's the day going? What y'all doing? What y'all up to? Well, before noon, I hate everybody. Y'all too. I hate you too. you know, I'm not a daunting person at all, man. You know, part of that is the reemergence, the coming forth by day. When the sun arises, I'm reminded every day that I have reincarnated back on the earth. So it's like a baby coming from the darkness of the womb, and like y'all sent me back. So for me, like there's that prayer. What is it? Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray my Lord the soul to take. So my soul to take something like that. I might have said it wrong because I don't think I've ever prayed as a child at the foot of my bed or nothing like that. We wasn't like that. Um, but yeah, it's like if I die before I wake, all right, that'll be all right. Let me get up out of here, man. Let me go to Pluto. They're finding new planets all the time, man. Let me go to one of them other planets and see what's going on over there. So when that sun comes forth, the coming forth by day. When the sun comes forth, it's like Earth again. Okay, here we go. Another 24 on Earth. Now I know that may sound crazy to some of you, but you don't you don't become Chief Yuya by having regular people's thoughts, or regular people's perspectives. So you have to float above the earth in order to really study, observe, and understand the psychology of the earth and the people in it. So yeah, there's a detachment there. But at noon, when the sun is at its highest and it connects to my pineal organ, then there's other things that kick in, because now I'm taking on the role of the redeemer, you know. But at nighttime, when I get to travel like Kansu, then I'm back in it. Okay, the night traveler. Here we go. Let's go. Now I can do my Draconis thing. I can do my dragon slash Dracula thing, at night. So it's a different kind of thing, Pray my Lord, my soul to cake. Oh, okay. Pray my Lord. Okay, I get, yeah, that would be different to pray the Lord. Yeah, like I said, that wasn't really part of my routine, but I remember hearing it from uh, um, Nightmare on Elm Street. you know. But anyway, so we get our foundation snatched. What do we do? A lot of times what happens, man. If you notice, when you find yourself at your lowest points, when everything is taken from you and you can't climb up on the merits or the quality of anything that's been taken. The only thing you can turn to is your divinity. You ever notice that? So a lot of times people, like they say, man, when ain't nothing else you could do, just pray. Ain't nothing else you could do, just pray. It's actually true. That's actually true. Now, I don't really advocate prayer in that sense, but the concept is true. I always had questions about where he is taking us. Where he's taking us. You mean Freddie coming for you? Or you mean, oh, Lord, my soul to take? Yeah, well, because it's erroneous because It's not your soul. So when you say, I meant the Lord. Oh, okay, I said it right first time. Oh, okay. So yeah, the Lord my soul to take. It's not your soul. And the whole thing is wrong. The whole little nursery rhyme is wrong. I got popped in my mouth for that question. Yeah, well, hey, that's how it goes sometimes. But yeah, man, it's not your soul. Number one, soul. Souls are not localized to any personality or to any dominion like that. So it's not your soul, number one. And then number two, in any deeper spiritual understanding, you know that you wouldn't call your divinity Lord. Lord, I tried to get, oh, my assistant is sending me messages. I'll get back to her. But yeah, you would know that Lord, if you're a Christian, right? If you're a Christian, Lord is actually a quote unquote pagan term. So when Lord is always a reference to Babylonian archetypes or Baal, or Baal, as some people say. But so that inclusion of the word Lord was a tricky thing, because before the word Lord was there in those ancient texts, there were actually archetypes names. You know, yeah, it gets deep. But there would, like how you guys talk about Orisha and stuff, the names of different lower archetypes like Orisha were actually there, and they replaced all of them and just used the word Lord. Um, so that's off. You wouldn't say Lord if you were like a Christian praying at the edge of your bed. You wouldn't say Lord. And then my soul. That's a. How could you have a soul? There is no a soul. This is the soul. So you have it passing through you for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years, but it's passing through you, but there's no ownership, which is what makes the soul so powerful. You can't screw it up. You don't own it, so you can't taint it. There is no my soul. It's the soul that is able to reflect in me for a period of time. And where would you take me? I mean, I'm that the fact hurts Christians' brains. It don't say that in my Bible. Oh, peace, Alex Lagant. Give thanks, man. Appreciate that. You know. Uh, yeah, it don't say that in my Bible. Yeah, you're right. But they don't be reading the Bible. So sometimes it's hard to have those kind of conversations. Peace, Demetria, Bethel. We're going back talking about spirituality. Bethel, house of God. You know, but yeah, man, they don't even read it. And number one, and then number two, the whole Bible thing is so tricky because like they're stuck on those books. You know, there are upper kingdom and lower kingdom texts. Like you've heard me read out of the Book of Mormons. There's the Book of Enoch, there's the Book of Thomas, there's the Infancy of Christ. These are all actual legitimate books. It's the Book of Barnabas. I mean, we could just go on and on and on and on and on and on. You know, so people don't really study. They don't understand the history of the book. If you're gonna hold something up and say this is the unequivocal word of God, which I've always had an issue with, because how you know? And what God? What God, number one, and how do you know that? And then I want to know the history of that piece. How did that come into being? Somebody had to assemble this. There was a time there was no printing presses, so someone had to assemble this thing. Who assembled it? Right? I want to know that. Now, obviously, I researched these things probably 30 years ago, but those are questions that they're not gonna. You ask those questions, like you said, Baba Uchu, like they start getting, agitated. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, they'd be like, listen. Do you believe in Christ? Do you believe that Jesus died for your sin? Like, it's gonna always come down to that because that's how they try to shut everything down. Well, if you don't believe that, we ain't got nothing to talk about. So it's like, all right, you're right. We probably don't have nothing to talk about. You know, I think of Haru or Asar, Yeshua, and I think you said you see oneness, Shannon. Don't. Yeah, you're wrong. It's not Haru, Asar, Yeshua for Lord. No, don't do that. That's that. This is a tricky one. It's not tricky, but it's something I wasn't going to talk about yet. Um, that's how we got caught out there because we started to assimilate lower archetypes with higher archetypes. Don't assimilate lower archetypes with higher archetypes. It doesn't mean that you don't appreciate and enjoy the lower archetypes just as much, but no, they're not the same. Um, you might read about Ogun or Oshun or Zarabanda or Lucero, or just Aiwedo or any kind of archetype like that, and you might say, well, that's the same thing as the Christ energy. It's not the same thing as the Christ energy. It's not. It's lower than the Christ energy. Just like you wouldn't look at, if you're coming from that background, you wouldn't look at Michael, the archangel, or Gabriel or Michael or Raphael, or Uriel or Azrael. You wouldn't look at those energies and be like, well, that's the same thing as Christ. So that means if you compare one of those energies, like you might look at Mikael and say, well, Mikael is a form of Shango, Gabriel is a form of Ogun. Well, would you assimilate? Well, most probably would if you don't know. Actually, would you assimilate Ogun with Obatala or Rishanla, the exalted higher Orisha, or assimilate Oshun or Shango with Oduduwa? Many would because they don't know any better. But let's just take it to a Christian thing. Would you assimilate those with, the Christ, or assimilate those with the Mother Spirit? No. You recognize that Yah the Father, Yah the Mother, and Yahweh the Son. Excuse me, I'm just thirsty. Yahweh the Son. You recognize that they are. Actually, I'm not thirsty. Let me keep it real. I already know that was an attack. Notice what happened when I said Yah the Mother. Now my eyes watering. When I said Yah the Mother, my throat chakra clenched up. It was actually an attack. But all it is an irritant because you can't F with me. I'm that guy. So Yah the Father, Yah the Mother, who they call the Holy Spirit, who is wisdom, and then Yahweh the Son. You wouldn't assimilate those energies or that levels on the lower levels with the angels or the archangels, right? So it's not. Don't make them all. Don't just pass a line through them like that. That's where study comes in. That's all. It's just it's just points of study. Um, these systems are much more deeper and complex than the average person wants to learn that they are. It would seem as though that, like I said, you could read these books and you can say, oh, or just like people read the Odu and they're like, oh, well, the Odu are there for us to figure out what to do with our lives. Not really. No, that's not what the Odu are there for. The Odu are there. The Odu are life. they are life. And you figuring it out, you don't have to figure things out if you live by the code. But you refuse to live by the code, so now you gotta get readings every 14 days. And ebos, and you gotta be killing chickens left and right. But obedience is better than sacrifice. Remember that one? You know, it's better to be lawful than to be expedient. So that goes back to what I was gonna share today in terms of like foundations. Um, when it comes down to those foundations being completely broken down and completely, demolished, which I said is happening for a lot of people. Peace, Roland. Hey, hey, the traveler. But when you have the idea of like those different foundations being broken down, and like Baba Utu, it's some of it is like what you said. Yeah, man. When you start to break down um, the Hebraic systems or even Islamic systems, and people say, well, like you said, hey, me myself actually put a picture of themselves. I thought it was gonna be a picture. Okay, cool. You took it all the way there. But when you start to break those things down and you realize that you know this is deeper. Like I said, when you are able to look at the Sun books or the Helios Biblios, and you realize that you're looking at a history book, and if you could read it as that, but a history of what the soul, then now it takes on a different meaning, or different books, and you realize a lot of these books are based around sun worship, and then you realize, okay, cool, well, is that what I want to do or not, or but there are levels. Like people sometimes, because of their shallowness, they read these texts with a shallow mind. you know it just says this and that's that. you know um but you got to understand that there's a true poet. This is why when you look at these figures, whether they be Buddha, whether they be Krishna, whether they be Yahushai, Mithra, you know, Gilgamesh, you look at these. Shoot, I mean, I could go Hercules. I mean, we could just go on and on and on. Um, Tahuti. You get the point, right? Now I'm just, nerding out. But they always spoke in parables. And they didn't speak in parables to purposely confound you, but they spoke in parables in order to contain information. You see? So let's take this for instance, right? Sometimes the very small things we look at, um, Khalil Gibran. It's so funny. I got turned on to Khalil Gibran on a date, one of the only dates I've ever had in my life, many many years ago. And the sister said, she said, when you speak, it's very interesting. You have this very poetic way of the way you talk. You, you talk like Khalil Gibran. I'm like, who? The dude from Juice, Raheem from Juice. She was like, no, Khalil Gibran. She was like, you speak just like him. The way you speak is, And I ended up learning about Khalil Gibran and and going and studying him from that. But so, and interesting enough, Khalil Kane's father is one of the founding members of the Last Poets. So wasn't too far off on that. But yeah, so like I said, sometimes we don't understand that there's layered values in these works, and they speak in parables. Like I said, a very very small example is when you look at Hebrew lettering, right? And you look at the word the letter yod, right? Yod is it's a very small letter. Maybe it's the smallest letter in the Hebrew alphabet. I'd probably say. It's just a little tiny mark, and it doesn't. Peace, La Cruz. Good dawning. Great grand rising to you too. It doesn't touch, like how you have your lines on your paper. It doesn't go down to the line, like let's say um, uh, Resh would, which is like R or Vav, even, what you would say for V, or Peace Zanaba, free you know. So it's a little tiny letter. Boom, it's just a little mark you made that doesn't even touch the lower lines. Why? Because Yod, um, which is a letter that represents the divine. It represents the Almighty. You know, so when you look at it, even in writing, and you look at it in symbol, and when it's written in script, it almost looks like Ruesh, which it's Ruesh is written like this, like a backwards R, lowercase, like a backwards lowercase R. Well, or Resh, excuse me. Now, Ruach means spirit, right? So you have the big R, spirit, and then you have the little yod. And cursive has the same, you can make it with the same shape but small, right? So why when we look at the tetragrammaton and we have the lettering there, yod can be present there, depending on how it's written. And you start to see that there's a mystery that's being shared just in the writing. You see, just in the way it's written. You know, so there's a deepness. Now, some people will look at it and just be like, "Oh, that's what we use for the letter Y." So that's that. That's yo. Okay, that's why. You can look at it like that, or you could realize that in sacred texts, there's going to be things that are going to have a deep, compiled, voluminous, metaphorical value. Just like when you look at the tree of life, or you look at the Odu Ifa, and you're looking at the geomancy of the actual formations of the Odu, and you're like, okay, well, I'm seeing uh, um, single line, double line, double line. That's probably how you might say it. We would say it light, dark, dark, right? That's Irosum. So I'm just okay. That's Irosum. Now, where do we go from there? Okay, but then you might say, okay, well, why is it formed like that? Why is it two lights over two darks? What does that mean? And does each line have its own designation? So those of us who know, we know that no, that top line, that's the head, then the shoulders, then the stomach, then the feet, right? So what does it mean to have light at the head, light at the shoulders, dark in the stomach, dark in the feet, right? What are the feet? What do the feet represent? The feet, well, your feet are transformation. What does the stomach represent? The stomach can represent your deity. What do the shoulders represent? The shoulders are everything in your world reality that supports your consciousness. What does the head represent? Well, the head represents your consciousness, right? So, we're looking at all of those different things, and but all you have in front of you on a tray is light, light, dark, dark. So it could just be that, light, dark, dark. Irosum. Okay, Irosum means that you need to give an offering to your ancestors. It could just be that, because it usually means you need to connect with ancestral energy. You need to go into the dark. You need to go into the past and see what's going on there. It could mean that. Or you might understand that it means a lot more than that. There's a whole metaphorical experience or metaphysical experience just with light, light, dark, dark. Irosum deals with gambling, in games of chance. But you have to understand, of course, how to read it to see that. And then for me, whenever I read Odu, and I know this is when everybody gonna start stealing now. Scour Facebook and IG, you're gonna see a bunch of videos now come up breaking down the Odu of Irosum Meiji. uh, that's right, y'all can have it. Um, but when you're doing it, you also want to look at the converse. So the converse would be Owonrin Meiji, he who walks with his head on backwards. You know, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you might just look at lines. The converse is dark, dark, light, light. You see, so just like those savior energies, peace, peace, Baba Anwar. Um, they they may speak in parables to compress a whole volume or library of information into one statement. Anything that's profound, or anyone that's profound, is going to do the same thing. You know, so it's the same thing when you're looking at these Bibles and these Qurans and these different books, and you know you're looking at compressed information, and you want to try to decompress it or uncompress it and unfold it. And yeah, there's something on the top layer, but let's go. You keep digging, and that's what Ifa is. Ifa is, you dig, you go beneath the surface, keep digging, keep digging, keep digging, keep digging. You know, and it's bottomless. It's bottomless. Why? Because the bottom gets bigger the more you dig. That's the trick to it. There is no stopping. It gets bigger when something is profound. when something is profound. We could study light for our entire life. Like I said, light, but do you really know what light is made up of? What is light? We use the word, but what exactly is light? What makes light? What are the laws of light? Then we could go to dark. What's dark? You know, is dark relative? You know, is dark even related to the word black? Is dark the absence of light, or is dark the presence of a different kind of light unseen to the human eye? Like, we could spend a lifetime just studying that, you know. So yeah, man, everything has a metaphorical, power to it. And this is really for the men to understand and learn. So for the women who are listening right now, and you're like, whew, I ain't got time to be studying all. You don't have to study all that. That's for your man to study, and then he brings back to you what's necessary for the growth of the house and for you to fulfill your purpose. Don't worry about all the other stuff. You know, don't worry, pretty little head. I know y'all don't like statements like that, but that is what it is. That's how we advance as a people. Everybody has a role to play, and everyone is not scientists, though they want to front like they are, for likes. They want to front like they're scientists for likes, but it's not everybody's role. It's not everybody's role. But like I was saying, and I'm flowing, so don't feel like, you know, he got off the subject. We had an hour. I'm about to get off anyway. So yeah, just with foundations, man, I just wanted to share, like, as you're resetting your foundations of how you're eating and things like that through the fast. For those of you who did it, another reminder. Let's see if I can flick it off. There we go. I'm getting good at it. Yeah, okay. Two reminders. But yeah, for those of you who actually participated and you're actually in the work of resetting your personal foundations, you know, um, one of the best ways, like I said, we always do that and we should do it, is turn to divinity. When you have to rebuild your life, start with divinity. Turn to divinity. You see, and turn to your creator. Turn to your source, right? Notice I'm not saying turn to the universe. Like, again, I need you to grow up beyond that. Those are terms for people who don't want to be accountable for what they do. The universe and the universe and the universe. Make it so eerie and mystical that you can't pinpoint it. And if you can't pinpoint it, you can't. Nothing could be accountable for anything. You know. Um, Sometimes people do that when they fake humility. They'll say, "Oh man, you don't have to call me pastor this or minister that or this and that, man. I'm just so and so, right? So that means I can act any old way I want." and you don't have to, and you never have anything to anchor me to or tether me to hold me accountable to. That's really what that is. Peace, Lewis. I hope I said it right. I asked yesterday if I said it right, but you didn't say anything, so I'm assuming I did. Um, so yeah, man. Um, we turn to divinity. That's number one. But the other piece to that is the way you reestablish yourself after your foundations have been torn down is through law and order. Just like the TV show, Law and Order. Law and Order are your first stop offs to reestablishing and rebuilding yourself. It is through law that the exotic and mystical values of these entities y'all love so much, they come through the expression of the law. That's how they're birthed, through law, right? And by establishing, people who say that abandoned systems with laws, not knowing or ignoring there are universal laws. Peace, Ricochet. Yeah, there's universal laws, exactly. Laws that rule the universe. So when those laws give birth to wind and fire and water and earth and moving water and salty water and foamy water, you know, so these archetypes that you are looking to, a lot of time you turn to the archetype to help rebuild your life. Oh, let me go to Ogun because this Ogun is good with structures and Obatalize, the whiteness of the bones. And let me go to Obata because I need my structure, my frame rebuilt. No, go to the law that gave birth to those entities. You see, I mean, ultimately, those entities are projections of your subconscious mind. Grow. But so what happens is when you begin to rebuild yourself, you look for law, you look for order, you look for fairness, you look for justice. These are the things that you begin to build your foundations back on again. Of course, you look for love, but not in the way that you're thinking. So just leave that to later because we'll cover love. I mean, we've covered it a lot already, but for now, law, order, justice, fairness. That's how you rebuild foundations that have been destroyed. And you have to turn to divinity. Peace can 171. Peace. Greetings to you. But yeah, man, that's how life is rebuilt. That's how life is founded upon laws. You know, um, Sometimes when we speak about your love of Allah's wisdom, you already know what it is, Kashia. But when we speak about the creation of the worlds and things, sometimes it's hard to imagine that the archetypes that we celebrate, who we attribute creation to, are actually bound by certain laws. You know, if you have an archetype that says I'm the truth, then that means they're bound by the laws of truth, or the truth, or the laws that produce truth. That means they can't lie to you. If they say I'll supply your needs or think anything like that, they're bound by those. They're telling you, oh, okay, something told me it was the Spanish way. Thank you, I appreciate that. So Luis, so that's peace, Diedrich Malone. So yeah, man, that's an important thing, and I know again for a lot of people right now they're losing everything, or they've lost everything, or for a lot of people they're using this as an excuse to lose everything. You got some people now who have more money in their bank account than they've ever had because when they got all of that back unemployment pay, it's like, oh, and then they stop paying their rent or their mortgage, and they're like, ooh, and then they put a freeze on repossessions, and they, oh, now I can finally live out my dream and move to Atlanta, or whatever it is. Some people had those opportunities to kind of reestablish their foundations, right now. And I know what y'all been thinking. I know what y'all been doing. I saw people are not really crying and complaining too much. You took advantage, and there's some of us, we got businesses, so you took advantage of some of those business loans, and you got in on that PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, and when they were giving the $10,000 grants, I mean, some of y'all did that and got caught out there was buying Ferraris and stuff, in Atlanta. But some people took advantage of that and got on top of that, and But here's the thing: rebuilding foundations, man. Yeah, you see, y'all know. Peace, hoodoo, occultism. But now is really a time to rebuild the foundations with law, man. Robin season. But you got to understand something. It's just take a little bit of Unc's advice, man. Just hear me out for a second. Since when has this place ever given a damn about the citizens who live here? And citizen, the root of the word citizen is slave, by the way. If you're a citizen, you're a slave. So when have they ever given a crap about the slaves here or the businesses here? Or, well, we're going to give the Paycheck Protection Program to keep the businesses from, or people from having to file from unemployment because they'll bankrupt the system. The system been bankrupt. You just print more money, you know. Um, so since when have they ever cared? Pay attention. you know, there are people who saying, look, we know we did some dirty, rotten, scoundrel type stuff, but we're giving you an opportunity. We're giving you your reparations. We're giving you an opportunity to rebuild your foundations. Some people now are sitting with 10, 15, 20, $30,000 in the bank. They had never seen that much money in their bank account, but because of these different programs and stuff like that, they were able to file for small loans. Or like I said, some people were living off $100 because after they were paying all their bills and their rent, they had nothing left. But because of everything that crashed, they were now able to qualify for government assistance, government loans, and what was it, the pandemic unemployment assistance, the PUA, all these different programs that they came out with. That was the money that you were supposed to use to leave Babylon, not go buy a bigger TV. Because, well, we stuck in the house, so we might as well go get that 75 inch or that 90-inch TV. It wasn't for that. That's not what it was for. It was for you to leave. Are you still buying food? Are you still buying supplies? Those of you who don't have felonies, are you, you know, getting licensed? In some of your states, you know, you can get your carry permits. Like, are you doing that? You do realize you got about another year or two, right? You do realize that, right? Before, like, complete pandemonium breaks loose. You got about another year or two. They're gonna slowly let you back. They're gonna slowly let you back. They got some of these children going into the schools, which are just big petri dishes. They're just big petri dishes. They're going in there getting infected. And I mean, there's some people saying the pandemic is over. The ex head of Pfizer Medical, he came out with a report. I think it was yesterday, day before, and he said the positive reports are false because the pandemic is it's gone, it's done, it's over. It depends on what we call a pandemic, right? I mean, I think that's something that we need to look at. Um, this isn't just about a disease going around. There's different kind of diseases that are going around right now, and there's more things that are going to be happening. You know, you got an election coming up that's going to be very polarizing. Your pandemic, exactly, Baba Utu. You know, but you have an election. Everybody's on a pandemic. But you got an election coming up that's gonna be, it's gonna eventually end up with the righteous versus the unrighteous. And I'm not talking about the two people, the two four devils running. I'm not talking about them. Um, so this isn't a, you know, you better get out or your voice don't count. Come on, grow up, grow, grow the freak up, man. Um, but that money that you got was enough for you to get out. And I'm not just saying get your passport and go to Africa. I'm not saying that. That's not the answer for everybody, especially when you do have people here who, you know, you got some people who have medical conditions that have them tied to this land. You know, I have a good brother of mine who has sleep apnea. And a lot of times when I'm like, yo, we could do that, he's like, nah, I need my machine. I ain't got my machine, I got a problem. You know, I got another really good brother of mine, he's on dialysis. So he just can't go into the middle of the woods and like just, you know, rock out, you know. Um, and I am fortunate, and you are fortunate. Those of you who can make moves, or maybe who have certain talents and gifts where you can um, build wealth, delocalized wealth. That's a beautiful blessing. And get out doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna go to Africa. Everybody, you know, I'm gonna go to Ghana. I'm gonna go to. Trust me, I'm telling you something. That is not the land of of plenty and paradise. There's foolishness there too. And one of the things I'll be totally honest about you with you about, when stuff really hits the fan, you want to be around your own. You don't want to be in a place where you're considered a foreigner. Number one. Number two, you don't want to be in a place where it's difficult to navigate and move around. You see, you could drop me in the New York City sewer system, and I can move around underground because I know New York City, right? And I know that sounds crazy, but when it comes to survivalism, you need to think like that. You know, do I really know this town? Do I really know these people? Do I really know my neighbor? Do I really know where to get resources? Do I really know where to get supplies, or how to get to all the rivers, and where everyone else isn't going to get to all the rivers? Do I know all the little secret coves and things like that? You may not know that in a foreign country, So, just to be honest with you, it's not always about get out the country, because everywhere is facing judgment. If you think it's just this place, then you got it confused. I'm gonna say this before I go, and I've said it before, but I think it's worth reiterating. This is a beautiful place. This country is gorgeous. I'm talking about the topography, just so you're clear on what I'm talking about. The topography of this landmass is beautiful. You getting that from somebody who's been everywhere, right? There's not too many places that I've traveled to that I can get in my car and be in different climate zones, and like, and let's say I could travel like 3 4 different climate zones in like 2 3 days. That's pretty amazing, you know. Um, so sometimes we forget that because we're so locked into the beast, and we think, well, the beast has poisoned this place, and the beast has done this to this, but the beast ain't that powerful. The beast has poisoned itself, and the beast recognizes that the balance of power is shifting, and the beast is trying to trick you into certain things. Nah, man. Nah, man. You know. Um, so no, you have to be about your agenda. I don't want to get off into. There's a lot of things I could say about that. I don't want to get off into that too much, man. But what's more important than, well, I'm gonna just leave and things like that. You take all of those resources that are coming, because they're gonna say, well, hey, we tried to help you. Those of you living in New York, we put a rent freeze. Yeah, the rent was gonna be due at the end, but what do you care about your credit? You already got a 456 credit score. You could have just left and not paid them nothing, and then when they asked for it, just bounced. Like, you could have. We put the freeze on it. We put $30,000-$40,000 into your bank account. We gave you a loan that, if you don't pay it back, it's only going to affect your credit, and you got a 456 anyway. So, hey, we gave you all the money you needed to leave. So I guess you want to be here. I guess you want to endure what comes next, So rebuilding foundations, go to law. Like I said, go to order, go to what's just, you know, begin there, and start to reestablish and rebuild yourself from that perspective. And I've been talking about this for a minute, so I'm not even gonna do yo, chief, what should we do? Because people are still sending me those questions, and I just ignore them. I don't even answer them. Like I said, especially for you guys, if it takes me to tell you to go protect your family, you're done. You're done. Like I said, I hope you got a pretty mouth, because that's, in a minute, that's the only way you're gonna be able to feed your family. You're gonna be out on the strip with some fishnet on, and some thigh-high boots. Talking about you want to date. You want to party. Hurry up, let's get in the cops. There's a lot of cops out here. Open the door. You're gonna be doing that. Next to your daughter. So if you want to avoid that, and some of you are already doing it, proverbially, you're already doing it. You've already prostituted yourself to the system. So that's all I'm going to say about that. As you're rebuilding foundations, man, you're being given opportunities right now in this moment to rebuild, and you're not even seeing what's happening. But law, cling to the law, cling to what is righteous. Go to that righteous law. What creates these other realities? What creates these other entities? That's what I'm going to hold on to. That's what I'm going to rebuild my life based upon. Not based upon what I've always wanted. Some of y'all got some real old dreams that don't even work anymore. You still, here, check this out. When you hear me say things like, yeah, man, you got a 9 to 5, who still works a 9 to 5? So think about, even when you hear me say that, 9 to 5. Who still has a 9 to 5 work schedule? They don't even do that anymore. It's 8:30 to 5 or 8:30 to 5:30. They get that extra. The government says they got to give you 30 minutes for lunch break. They take that right back. No, you're going to come at 8:30. So some of these things are old paradigms, you know what I'm saying? And truth be told, the whole concept of a 9 to 5 is that's old school, man. That's old. That's back when computers were white, white plastic computers. You know, that's back in those days. You know what I mean? And your computer and your computer keyboard was loud and clunky. That's those days. That's those days are over. You know, it ain't about a 9 to 5 anymore. It's about while I'm sleeping, I'm making money and I'm being supported, and I have businesses that are not only residual, but my money makes money. It's been that for a minute now. You know, the whole 9 to 5 thing is gonna be phased out by machine learning anyway. Machines, it's 24/7 until they break down. So only people who really gonna have work, people know how to fix the machines until the machines learn how to fix themselves. Uh oh. You know, we got a different kind of issue. You gonna wish you knew those subways, those sewer systems, and you gonna be like, oh, Chief was right. I should have took that doggone 20, 30,000 dollars, bro. I should have took that doggone 20, 30,000 dollars that they gave me, man, and I should have went and got myself some land out in Arizona somewhere where nobody wants to be. Went and got me, 5 or 10 acres, man, and learned how to plant some fruit trees and grow some berries and some food and you know raise a couple of animals. I should have learned how to ride a doggone horse. you know, so I could stay off of these main roads, man. I should have learned how to shoot a doggone bow and arrow. I didn't think a time was gonna come where I couldn't just get ammo, where ammo was gonna be scarce. I should have learned metallurgy, man, so I could become a gunsmith. I should have learned how to make my own guns, so I don't have to be having to have weapons that I gotta register and already have serial numbers on them and things like that. I need to take it back to the 70s and the 60s when they were making zip guns. You know, I need to take it back to that actually. When I was making those, not just the 70s and 60s. You know, shoot, I need to learn how to make me a doggone zip gun. They gave me $50,000, and I don't have to pay my rent, car note, or anything. You know, yeah, but it's time to rebuild the foundations. We'll get into it a little bit more. I don't want to take up too much of your doing. Um, Rebuild, grow, rebuild, because these things are not going to be here forever. I sure as heck is not. I'm not going to be here forever. Um, I actually was looking on my calendar this morning for the end date for the commander day. I was like, yeah, I think that should be sufficient, you know. So nothing lasts forever. We live in a reality that's marked by the value of temperance. Um, you know, they never heard of a zip gun, huh, Esme? What they used to say? Message. There's no wasted words. Just like when you read sacred scriptures, they don't just throw words in there just to try to make the book thick. Every word is intentional. It's given to you for a reason. Okay, grow. So yeah, man. So I'm gonna head out, and I'm gonna will all of you. You probably broke your fast already, or you're breaking it. Or like I said, for some, I think Kashia said you're going to Wednesday. You know, um, call it spring chicken. Yeah, but zip bob Utu. Them zip guns also a little dangerous too. You only have one shot. You better make it count. But they work. They work. They work. They work. You can make them out of a lot of different things. You know, learn how to make things, man. Yeah. Even your defense doesn't have to rely on the system. It doesn't have to. You know, I had a sister give me a whole 2 boxes of MRE packets a month ago. She was like, yeah, what am I gonna do with these? They were giving them out at the church, and I got 2 boxes of them. I'm like, what you gonna do with these? Okay, yeah, I'll figure out something to do with them. So I'm like, you just like blessed my whole emergency supply, you know. But sometimes again, people don't realize that they think things are going back to normal, and you know that certain things they're not going to need, you know, and certain things that will always be there for them to get. But you're going to have to learn how to explore the work of your own hands going forward. All right, everyone. Enjoy your day. Be safe. I'm gonna make me a little bit of juice and water. Probably just some. I think I'm gonna start with some. I'm a little um, parched, so I think I'm gonna start with some root tea. Nah, I don't feel like doing all that, man. I'm just gonna drink some water. All right, but yeah, we'll start with some water, and maybe I'll juice up something a little later. But Wild Girl, Nikki Lou, Amal, you know, Kashia, Information, Baba Utu, Baba Anwar, Brother Vermon, Rika Shai. I'm just Sister Deidre, Sister Maksha, Shannon, Krishan, you know, Mama Marva. She probably left for work already though. Sister Andreen, you know, lime water got me feeling clean inside. That's good, man. That's good. And lime smells good too. Yeah, that's good, man. I'm glad, man. Cleaning out, get them worms up out of you. Get the stuff you don't need. All this. That's how you rebuild foundations too. Get rid of people and stuff that you don't need, man, because you can't build on broken things. You know. Grow. All right, everyone. Be well. Peace.